前に現れたのは姉のかつての恋人
真の
そして
真の
13年前から来たもう一人の彼
Hey everyone, this is Julie and welcome to my SOFHAB review series. Today, I'm covering an anime movie called Her Blue Sky, and joining me is Rascal Entertainment.
Hello again.
So this movie is from 2019, but it just dropped on Netflix almost out of nowhere, and it's certainly one of the oddest choices for it. So let's see what it has to offer. But
Before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get updates on SOFHAB reviews and many more types of videos from our channel.
yes, and thank you for joining us. So Her Blue Sky we weren't familiar with. We actually never heard of it. And it's an animated film produced by CloverWorks, directed by Tatsuyuki Nagai, and written by Masaru Yokoyama, with Masayoshi Tanaka designing the characters and serving as chief animation director, 2 novels and 3 manga.
Okay.
One of the novels is released in 2 different forms, Her Blue Sky novel, as well as Her Blue Sky. And the second novel was a spin-off told from the perspectives of the other characters in the story, instead of from the main character.
Okay.
And it was a 3-volume manga series written by Eiko Nagai, released in 2019 and finished in 2020 by Okada Corporation. So I'm gonna guess after, and I'm gonna guess the other novels were after, because if it's from the perspective of the characters, and if the dates are 2019 to 2021, then the manga and the novels were released after.
Right.
So then
Which
that
they've
means
done.
it was an original work, like you said.
Right. So with this one, it sort of takes another spin on those time travel type stories that the animes and manga seem to do, but rather than somebody hit their head or fall down the stairs or be in an accident to time travel, this sort of happened because of I guess it can be one of those spirits they have where they kind of stay locked in on a certain area and their residue, might as well say, kind of stay there and linger. And that's kind of what they did for here when we get to the main story, because it really focuses on 2 sisters and how the relationship has sort of been sort of strained as time went on after older sister's boyfriend had left. And now it becomes an entirely different story when she goes to this little place where they used to make music for a band, record songs and things, and now the boy is supposed to be from 13 years ago or more. 13 years ago, and he looks exactly the same. And they're trying to figure, well, why does he look the same when he should be much older? And it kind of escalates from there.
Now, they're from a place normally not covered called Chichibu. And the second thing that stuck out to me, she first sees him, he's not trapped. But after she sees him later, then he ends up trapped where he can't get out. And that's one thing the film doesn't explain. Why was he trapped after she saw him outside of the building he was in? Because she told her sister, I saw him, but it couldn't be him.
Right.
Because he wouldn't look exactly the same.
Right.
So it never explained to us why he was trapped after that initial viewing.
Right. And this is part of what made the film not stand out as much as it went on, because we really didn't see people talk about it, never heard of it. It just showed up on Netflix one day. And the problem here is that it has a good concept yet again,
Yes.
but the execution falls flat. What they have set up here is that this version of the boy she knew that the sister dated, this is how he was in the past. And then you actually see a version of him now, and they're literally coexisting at the same time somehow.
And
you
two
see him,
different
Right.
people,
She-
2 different personalities.
he's become the complete opposite of himself. He's arrogant. He's a jerk. He's aloof. He's depressed. He's made it big as a bass player, but he's a totally different person you can't really approach. And you're just kind of sitting wondering, how do you go from this really optimistic guy to this depressed looking guy?
Right.
And they're trying to figure out, well, what happened in his life that made him go to that. And he actually can see himself looking like that and interacting with the technology and stuff. And he's just furious that he's let himself somehow not only dump the girl he's been in love with, but also become a person that's just a shell of who he was. He's got talent, but he's like, there's nothing to him anymore, and he becomes really furious about that.
So, I always friend Sugo thinks that Shino is an Ikuryo, or living ghost, born from Shinosuke's strong, unresolved feelings. Shino is what he's called in the film.
Yeah.
And once he returns to the hall, he's trapped in the hall. But again, they don't explain why.
Right.
Some of these unanswered questions, there were quite a few when you're watching it. They were rather confusing. I think are things that may have affected whether people enjoyed it as much or not.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, it's a good concept, but it wasn't fleshed out as it could be. Maybe the movie needs to be longer so those questions could be answered. Or maybe it needs to be written in a different way where within the framework of the movie unfolding, they were answered not directly, but indirectly from the characters' conversations or actions. That would have worked.
And for me, well, the movie focuses on Aoi, that's her name? Aoi and her sister, first and foremost, from the time they showed the flashback to now. And I think the movie would have been stronger focused on, what was his name, Shindo? Shino. It would have been stronger if they focused on Shino's point of view most, because he could wake up one day and he's like, why is he still here? He sees everyone's older. He's still the same. He doesn't know he's trapped there. And it would have been interesting to see from his perspective how he's trying to get a grip on this world. And like I said, his reaction to how he's become a really horrible guy. And he's like, I can't let myself become this.
Still in love with her sister.
Right. Still in love with the sister. He's become this, and he's like angry with himself. He's like, how could I let myself become this? And he's able to actually talk to himself later and says, you should be ashamed that you turn out like this. You have all this potential, and this is what you do. So I got they were going for a thing where, like, the question would say, what would you tell your 12-year-old self or something they could see you now? Well, they kind of bring that concept to life, and it's basically saying, like, your past self wouldn't want to see yourself become something that didn't amount to anything or let people you love go or something. And it was a really strong concept there. It wasn't a bad idea. Because we focused so much on the sisters that we didn't see enough of him to explain the situation. And I think if they had done that, the movie would have been stronger, because it was actually better when it was through his point of view.
Very true. So we get toward the end of the film how this is resolved in a very bizarre way. And how it ended is really odd. It's a little bit unsatisfying ending.
It's supposed to be happy, I think, but it's bittersweet because they're almost had a love triangle.
Yeah, we forgot to mention that Aoi falls in love with 18-year-old version of Shino. And that version of him is falling for the sister as well. And the 31-year-old Shino is still in love with Akane, her sister, and Akane is still in love with him.
Yeah.
So by the end, as you said, there is a happy ending for Akane and Shino, the 31-year-olds. But Aoi ends up with no one because, it's not a spoiler, he disappears.
Yeah.
And you knew he was going to disappear.
Yeah.
You were just waiting to find out when.
Right. It would actually been funny if they both stayed and it would have been weird, like Eden Zero.
So he gets out of the hall and things progress and you see this ending. And again, it's unsatisfying. You're happy that they're back together and you hope he's better off from being back with her. But Aoi ends up unhappy. But there's a guy there that likes her, so she'll probably be fine.
And the worst thing is that... go ahead, sorry. The worst thing is that it's so slow. It's almost 2 hours, but the story's just a real slug to get through. And I get they want to have all these interactions, you get adjusted to everybody and the characters, but it took too long to do some of these scenes, especially when there was barely any animation in it.
Last thing, that's what I was getting to. All of the backgrounds and the places they went to, all of that was live action, and the animation was layered over and inserted.
With characters,
which was really weird.
I think they're trying to do like Amazing World of Gumball, where the characters are animated and everything else was live. but it didn't work because it looked a little like, I'm sorry, a little lazy.
Yeah.
It was just, oh, you only have to draw the characters and nothing else. I should save some time.
Well, let's give a shout out to the English dub voice actors. On Netflix, Aoi was voiced by Mia Kodama. Shinon was voiced by Edward Hong. Akane voiced by Ann Yako, who is CloverWorks.
Yeah.
We've got Jerry Courtney Austin as Chiga Otaki.
Okay.
So, would I recommend you watch this movie if you're looking for something to watch to pass the time that is calm? Give it a watch.
Yes.
If you're looking for something that's really, really interesting and gonna be something different, unfortunately, this isn't it. We applaud the attempt.
Yes.
It did have the potential to be something really, really good, but it was just okay for us.
Right.
Now, if you've seen this movie, let us know in the comments. What do you think? Did you like it? Was it okay? Is it something that you just didn't want to watch or would recommend? Let us know what you think. And if you read any of the, as I mentioned, the light novels that came out, any of the 3 of those,
right,
let us know in the comments as well.
Right. And if you haven't already, be sure to like, subscribe, click notifications so that's on SOFHAB reviews and many, many, many other types of videos.
Thank you so much for joining us, for subscribing to all of our channels, sharing our videos, and so much more. We really appreciate you. And thank you, Rascal, once again for joining us for this review. If you haven't already, visit Rascal's channel. You already know is awesome. But if you haven't been there, go to her channel, watch videos, say hi in the comments to her.
Yeah, thank you.
And that's it for now.
I'm Rascal.
I'm Julie.
Have a fantastic day.
Happy, healthy, whole, and also wonderful my specials. See you next time.
井の中の蛙大海を知らず